Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Colin with Mandrino Motorsports again. I just want to go ahead and throw out a reminder to like and subscribe. We've got an interesting guest with us here today. We've got Omega Albino Tactics from YouTube. He brought his Cadillac out, also known as the Tactilac or the Cadillac, depending on the audience. So we were out at drill weekend this past weekend, where he and I, we go play pretend army. But I noticed that it had kind of a shake, and he mentioned it needed brakes. So every time he'd brake, it would cause the whole truck to kind of do this. So that's signifying that he probably needs new rotors. So he went and picked up some new Duralast rotors from AutoZone, as well as some Duralast Elite brake pads. He went ahead, I see he got the ceramics. Ceramics are nice because they don't throw out quite as much dust. They tend to stop better. They tend to be a little quieter. I err on the side of cheap most of the time, unless I'm racing stuff, and even then the V-Rod's got terrible brakes, so it doesn't stop. But we don't worry about stopping. So he picked up some new parts for us that we're going to go ahead and throw in it today. And so in this video, we'll go over that. Make sure to scuff them up really good for him so that they don't stop. Dang, those are big.
That's what she said.
So here's the rotor. We're going to have to get the old ones off. I'm sure he's going to cringe when I take a sledgehammer to his car, but it's the only way to get them off. Most of the time they're going to seize and rust around here, which you all will see when we go to get it off. Every rotor that I've ever changed, unless it's a brand new car, they seize on. So we'll have our rotors, which will help with the shake when he stops, and it'll also, like this wear surface over time, dirt and debris will get in them. The wear surface will actually get things between the brake pad and the rotor that'll cause it to actually groove. You can be really cheap and go and turn them. I don't recommend that. I've never seen that go well. You just end up replacing them anyway. So he's got new ones here. Wow, they're really stepping up their packaging. And then he also has new pads, so he'll have a good amount of life out of there. And then it also should come with kind of the spring hardware. I was telling him I've never necessarily changed brakes on a Cadillac, but it's a GM product. Most of the time auto manufacturers within the same class, so like Cadillac, GMC, Chevy, when you get toward like their 1500s or their SUVs, a lot of the brakes are set up very similar. Ford is the same way. A lot of their larger trucks, it's going to be the same. A lot of their cars, they're going to be the same. So if you've changed one set of brakes, most likely you're going to be capable of changing the rotor and pads. There will be some differences, but a lot of it's pretty easy. I used to have a buddy of mine that we would race who could get the rotors done faster. And I mean, we've been doing it since high school. So easy to do, and we'll go ahead and get into it in this video. All right, so we've already done the other side just to get the screw-ups out of the way, but now we've got it narrowed down to just the tools we need, torque specs we need, that kind of stuff. So we're going to start with pulling the caliper off, and then we'll remove the caliper bracket. It's super easy. There's only a couple bolts. After we get those out, we'll go ahead and pull the rotor. And once the rotor's out, we'll pull it off, and we'll start prepping for the new one. So to get the caliper off, and that's just this piece, it kind of floats within and bolts down to this bracket. There's a bolt up here and a matching one down here, which will be a 19 millimeter socket. You're going to want a breaker bar. Most of the time they're kind of seized on there. So it'll just come loose like so, unless it's really stuck, and that won't.
Or unless you're really strong like him.
Make sure to jump that up for you. And then I'm lazy and I have the tools, so I'm going to do it. But I have you don't have to have one of these, just a normal socket. A ratchet will work, unless you're tightening it down. See, those are your two 19 millimeter. Yep. Once that's off, you're going to want to take a bungee cord, like so. You don't want it to hang from the brake line while you're working on it. You kind of rock it out, and then the whole caliper comes off. And you just want to bungee cord it up out of the way. You don't want it hanging off this brake hose. So now we're down to, here's the caliper mounting bracket, and you've got your brake pads. And they, of course, don't want to come off, so you apply a little pressure to get them off. His actually had some good life left in them. We found a little more damage on the other side, but it's definitely been wearing unevenly.
The main reason we're also replacing these is because the rotors.
That one's not even tight on there.
That could be why it was shaking. The rotors have some wear, and so these are probably the original 14-year-old rotors. So it's time to go ahead and replace them anyway. So we're just doing the whole thing since we're here, and they'll probably easily give it more life than the vehicle has itself. No, I'm joking. This thing only has 156,000 miles. This gimbal keeps trying to escape every time it loses your face. It wants to run away.
Oh, really? So we're going to go ahead and remove these clips. Whenever you buy a brake hardware, or when you buy brakes pads, you want to go ahead and buy the new clips. A lot of times these will get bent, and I've actually seen them broken and missing pieces. So you want to get those out of the way, and then you're going to come in and pull the actual mount off. There's 2 more bolts that are going to be a little further back in there. Keep trying to go the wrong way.
That's how you hurt your hand right there. Yeah, you'll see it when it wants to, where it tries to run away.
That sucker's on there.
When in doubt, hammer it out.
A little ASMR for you guys on
We got a live stream going in up there in the corner. You know, double dipping content. That's how we do this.
A little more ASMR. And just like that, that's your caliper bracket.
So far, that's literally 4 bolts.
And then to pull your rotor off, there's just that's tightening. You see that?
Yeah.
It was just straight up loose.
And this is why proper maintenance is important.
Oh, 2 for 2.
It came off nice and smooth.
Yeah, it did.
So side note on this is all-wheel drive. So that's actually a little drive shaft.
Yeah, so on the all-wheel drive, you have, oh man, I'm totally spacing on what they're called now. But essentially, it's like an axle you'd find in a traditional rear-end vehicle, except for it's not solid. You need your suspension to articulate, so you have your upper control arm and your lower control arm that move up and down. And you've got pivot points up here and down at the bottom that allow the whole suspension to articulate where this moves independently of these 2 arms. And that is all sprung off of your coilovers, which this actually has, I believe it's the air suspension, but it's not like a crazy air suspension to like drop it to the ground. It's like an air suspension to adjust for weight and travel.
Yeah, we're going to adjust the back and we're going to lower this baby eventually. I don't know if it works that way, but in my mind, that's how it does.
The Cadillac systems don't like being messed with. A lot of it don't.
We're going to cut a spring and get it to drop. No, we ain't going to do all that. We are not going to do all that.
All right, so Omega, or Jerry, has
just-
already cleaned the surface for us. Whenever you get these, they're going to be packaged in oil to help with the shelf life of it. on these Cadillac ones, not all vehicles are the same, but on this one specifically, it has threaded holes, and it also has a hole that you need to line up to screw in that little retention screw that'll go right there.
And as y'all seen when he was taking it off, that mofo was loose, which probably isn't a good thing, but that's why we're doing this. I mean, these ones definitely look a lot better than the old ones. And the old ones, you can actually feel that it was wearing the rotor.
They get a groove in
and
them.
It was getting little wobbly. And you could definitely feel it when you would brake. Under normal braking conditions, not even like hard braking conditions. But yeah, that's already almost 50% done.
All right, so next thing we're gonna do is these have these guides in them, and that grease over time just kind of breaks down and gets dirty and just doesn't perform the same way it should. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but I've just got a jar of anti-seize here. So what we'll go ahead and do is clean these off. Take some brake clean and a rag. Clean all the old gunk off. See the difference already in it. And then I just take some anti-seize, and this will allow it to move freely.
Yeah, lube her up,
and this
baby.
is the copper high temp stuff, which is probably a little overkill for what we're doing, but it's going to help under the longevity. You just want to press that in there. When you're doing a brake job, you want to make sure everything's clean. Everything comes packaged with oil, everything's dirty, everything you're taking apart is dirty. So it's important to put it back together. Vehicles, for something that gets as dirty as they do, when you're doing your maintenance, when you're building a motor, when you're doing anything like that, you want to try and keep it as clean as possible, because you want to start with a good surface rather than something that's dirty to start. So we'll go ahead and take this bracket.
Yeah, take that bracket.
And it just lines back up on the same holes that you took out. Working on a vehicle is a lot like a puzzle. Whenever you take something apart, you just put it back the same way that you took it apart. It's not this amazingly complex, crazy thing.
You should not have extra pieces, remember that. He be cheating. He got them tools. But he needs more.
Milwaukee, if you want to sponsor me.
Milwaukee.
The Yeeper says, "Hey, Omega."
Hey, yo, what up?
And Bullseye Ben says, "Put hockey pucks under the leaf springs." That'll raise it. That's the opposite.
Yeah, we're trying to
do.
drop it. We're trying to drop it.
You want to get these tight because you don't want it to come apart while you're driving.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I'm going to leave Omegas just a little loose.
You don't get no insurance money. You probably get actually a negligence manslaughter case.
What are you talking about? I'm doing this for free. For the views.
Yeah, we don't need to kill me for views.
Alright, so the hardware that we talked about, this is that new hardware, like I said. Make sure to get the brake kits that come with the hardware. Don't buy it without. It's not worth it. Just spend a little bit of extra that you have to spend.
I think the price difference was also, I think it was $7 in price from the ones without the clips, but they were also better brake pads, just so people know, at the same time. So you're paying for a little bit, allegedly, better performance for the brake pads, but you're also getting the mounting hardware.
No, I just did these and I can't remember. Oh, that's... So, these just go in, and they got a little clip that they're gonna, or a little nub right here that they seat into. And it just, you want to line that up center, and then just snap it in place. That's all you do. Their whole job is just to keep the brake pads in. Dude, I'm struggling today.
Probably flips over.
I'm having a hard time. You not bringing new brake pads out here?
Nah, let me grab them. I'm gonna go in here. Yeah, so these were the Duralast Elites that we got. You'll see that at the beginning of the video. And we got some more brake fluid just to top it off. I bought it. I'm gonna let him keep it because he does more mechanic work than I do. He'll probably never use it all. Or he's gonna make me take it. I don't know which.
So again, you want to keep everything clean.
You expecting more company?
Oh, it's Bethany. She's coming to pick up Emily. Huh? No?
So that's we back after a technical error.
Alright, so on these Cadillac pads, the back side of them is flat and the front side is rounded. So they only go together one way. And so it will just slot in. Like so. I'll just squeeze it together. Tab got forward. Alright, let's fix that. So they'll slot together like that. So now those are put together. The next step in what you want to do is you want to take your caliper that doesn't want to come loose now. What's up? Okay. Love you too. So you'll want to take your old brake pad and lay it over the face of the caliper. Take a C-clamp. They make special tools for this. I don't have the special tool for this.
Sponsorship opportunity.
And then crank it down, except for you want to get it kind of centered. And you actually will compress this so that it goes on. Because you're just going to throw these away anyway, so you might as well use them. But as you can see here, here's the cup on the caliper. You want to compress that in, or you'll never get it back over the pads. So then you take your caliper, and without any force, it should just wiggle right over everything. You're going to want to push your guides in. Those are the things we greased earlier. And the whole thing should just plop right in. And then it's just a matter of doing the same thing you already did. You're just going to screw it in. Or you're going to screw the bolts in. Except for this.
Man, you see when we didn't have the video on you, you had zero pressure on the other side. Now you're all flustered on this side.
It's not wanting to cooperate. Wanting to get hung up on everything.
The other side went a lot smoother for some reason, other than the mishap that he can put as a blooper.
All right, so those bolts go in. You want to make sure to get a couple threads in them. And then you'll just tighten them back. And then you take your torque wrench, and this side, these calipers, when they bolt into the brackets, 84 foot-pounds. So it'll take a little bit of pressure to get, but separate it around.
Yeah, don't do that.
Sorry, Live.
One tink, and you're there. And we have it on 2 jack stands, and the jack is still underneath it, just for our safety, your safety, video safety.
And just like that, that's brake pads. Definitely more struggles on this than necessary, but stuff happens.
Brake pads and rotors.
Yep, brake pads and rotors. But you'll want it to free spin. And you'll hear a little bit of drag, but nothing too crazy. And after that, it's wheels, tires, and put it on the ground. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. And then once we have it on the ground, we're gonna pump the brakes a couple times, make sure it catches. You don't want a runaway vehicle before you put it in gear. So we'll go